There's a world beneath this one, older than cobblestone streets, deeper than any ministry record. Before Hogwarts rose, before London ever whispered the word witch, magic was already here. Tonight, you'll drift through the hidden history of Wizarding America. You'll walk beside the first wandless witches, hear the fire crackle in Salem, feel the stone beneath Ilvermorny's towers, and listen as MACUSA seals its secrets in silence. This is the story they never told you, and the wand is still waiting. You may think magic began with the founders of Hogwarts, but it didn't. Long before castles rose from stone, before wands were carved and names were feared, before the word wizard was whispered through alleyways of cobblestone, magic was already alive. It drifted through the trees, curled beneath frozen rivers, and danced with the wind that sang through untouched forests. This is the story of the first magic on this continent, of what came before Ilvermorny, before MACUSA, Magical Congress of the United States of America, before the Salem fires crackled in the dark. Close your eyes now and listen. You are walking where no road has been laid. The forest is tall, old. It does not creak or groan. It breathes. Here, the first magical people walked without fear. They were known by many names, names whispered in languages that flowed like rivers, names now forgotten by time, but remembered by the earth. They did not use wands. They did not need them. Their magic came from listening, from speaking to the snow as it fell, to the heartbeat of trees, to the way stars arranged themselves like quiet runes across the sky. They were not sorted into houses. There was no ministry, no law, no division between wizard and nature. They brewed potions from glacier mists, shaped clouds into messages, and healed wounds with the breath of singing birds. Their greatest strength was understanding. They knew the thunderbird long before Ilvermorny gave it a name. A creature of storm and sky, with wings wide enough to pull clouds into thunder. To anger it was to awaken the lightning. To follow it was to find power. They spoke of the horned serpent coiled beneath lakes so still that they reflected the past and future as clearly as the moon. It was said the serpent could read minds, and that it chose only the most honest among them to approach its waters. And then there was the wampus, fast as shadow, strong as stone, a guardian spirit. To see one and survive was a sign you were destined for greatness. But perhaps most curious of all was the Pukwudgie, a small prickly being, mischievous, clever, sometimes grumpy, but never cruel. They were watchers of the woods, healers, arrow makers, ghost whisperers. Many of the old magical people claimed to be guided by them. Even Isol Sayre, long after, would speak of Pukwudgies as friends and guides. You might still feel their eyes when you walk too quietly near birch trees. Now picture a gathering. No walls, no torches, just the light of stars and the low hum of magic passing between people like shared breath. A woman sings to the stones, and they lift from the earth in a perfect ring. A child whispers to a deer, and the deer bows in return. A healer draws symbols into smoke, and the sick are made well. This was not Hogwarts. This was something older, and in some ways, something pure. There was no war between good and evil, only balance. When a curse was cast, the trees would groan. When a blessing was shared, even the stars would shift their glow. But even magic that walks gently must hide eventually. Time passed. The skies changed. Foreign sails approached. And with them, fear. The witches and wizards of the New World began to hide, to whisper in secret, to bury their knowledge beneath bark and river stone. Some were hunted, some were betrayed, others faded into myth. But their magic never left. It lived in the caves, in the feathers of owls, in the quiet. And when the European wizards arrived, with their books and their fear, they did not bring magic to America. They merely woke what was already here. It sings beneath your feet. It watches through the leaves. And maybe, if you listen closely, you'll hear the Pukwaji laugh as he vanishes into the mist. There are moments in magical history when the fire burns too hot and leaves nothing behind but silence. Close your eyes now. Let us go back, not to Hogwarts, but to another place, another fear. The year is 1692. The town is Salem, and the air is thick with suspicion. Wooden homes creak beneath heavy skies. Smoke curls from chimneys, but it carries whispers, not warmth. Witches, devils, curses. The Muggle, or as they call them here, nomad world is on edge. Anything unexplained is feared, and anything feared is destroyed. You walk the dirt path in silence. Your wand is hidden. Your thoughts must be guarded, because if they even suspect, you will burn. The Salem Witch Trials were not the first time fear turned to fire, but for magical America. They were the spark that changed everything. 20 innocent people lost their lives. Some were nomads, others were not. But the flames did not ask. The ropes did not care. To be different was enough. And so, as smoke choked the sky, as cries rang through the forests and fields, a decision was made. The magical community would need governance. A body to protect, to hide, to survive. And so in 1693, in secret, beneath stone and shadow, the Magical Congress of the United States of America was born. MACUSA, not just a government, but a shield, a fortress in silence. Its first meeting was not grand. There were no banners, no music, only quiet oaths and trembling voices. They vowed to protect magical kind, to conceal, to endure, but they also vowed something else: to never, ever trust the nomads again. From that day forward, America's magical law would be stricter, harsher, unforgiving. No relationships with nomads, no shared families, no accidental glimpses of floating candles or enchanted clocks. The memory charm became law, the wand, a registered weapon. And while Hogwarts taught its students bravery, Ilvermorny taught them caution. Do not be seen, do not be known, do not be caught. The very structure of MACUSA reflected this. No ministry towers, no grand fireplaces, just cold marble beneath the Woolworth building in New York City, hidden from the world. Even the president of MACUSA did not live publicly. Her name was Seraphina Pickery, and she ruled with elegance, but not softness. Every spell was a secret, every whisper was a warning. They had learned from Salem, and that fear carried through the centuries. Do you feel it? The weight of magic hidden beneath a cloak of silence. Imagine being a young witch in 1702, stepping outside for the first time, knowing your power must stay inside your skin. No wand play in public, no laughter that might float, no levitating toys, no enchanted songbirds. You could not trust your neighbors, or your lovers, or even your own children. So the walls grew taller, the spells grew quieter, and the shame settled in like dust. But not all forgot the fire. There were those who remembered the witches who had burned, not because they were guilty, but because they were free. And some whispered, not in fear, but in defiance. They began building small spaces for safety, hidden rooms in libraries, secret schools in mountains, passageways in trees. And so the magical world of America grew, not in the open, but like roots, spreading, surviving, waiting. And the flames of Salem, they faded, but their shadow still flickers in the laws, in the fear, in the silence. Some stories begin with greatness, with castles and crowns and chosen ones, but not this one. This story begins with escape. Close your eyes, breathe slow, let the air grow still around you. Now imagine a ship cutting through a cold Atlantic Sea. A girl stands at the rail, her hair whips behind her. Her eyes are afraid. Her name is Isolde Sayre. And though she is young, she carries with her a secret bloodline, a cursed past, and a broken hope. She is the last descendant of Salazar Slytherin, the founder of the House of Snakes. But she has fled her home, fled her aunt, the dark witch Gormleth Gaunt, who believed in purity, in control, and in cruelty. Isolde ran from that legacy, from the pain, from the voice that told her she was destined to follow darkness. And now she drifts toward a new world. America, the land of hidden magic. She lands with nothing, no gold, no family, and only a broken wand, once belonging to Salazar himself, and a heart that still believes in light. She walks north, through forest, through snow, until she reaches a mountain, tall, cold, and waiting. Its name is Mount Greylock. There the wind sings with magic, the trees murmur in dreams, and the silence feels safe. She builds a small stone cottage, cooks over fire, sleeps with a wand beneath her pillow, and then one night she meets a creature. Not a wolf, not a bear, but a Pukwudgie, a small, sharp-eyed being named William. He saves her from a magical snake, grumbling all the while, and somehow, through irritation and kindness, they become unlikely companions. Soon others come, children orphaned by magical beasts, wanderers with strange gifts, and a man, a no-mage named James Stewart, who sees her not as a witch, but as a wonder. Isolde falls in love, not with power, but with peace, and together they build something greater, a place for magical children to learn, not fear, to grow, not hide. They name it Ilvermorny, the first school of witchcraft and wizardry in North America. Not grand, at first, just a wooden house on a stony slope. But the walls were warm, the halls filled with laughter, and the classrooms lit by candles and courage. Isolde could have copied Hogwarts. She had once dreamed of going, but she made something new. 4 houses, each named not for herself, but for magical creatures she admired. Thunderbird for the soul, adventurers, wanderers of sky and spirit. Wampus for the body, strong, swift, unyielding, protectors. Horned serpent for the mind, wise, thoughtful, full of hidden depth. And Pukwudgie for the heart, healers, companions, fierce with love. Students chose their houses not just by sorting, but by what called to them, by what they needed or feared, and the magic welcomed them all. Witches from distant forests, wizards from deep cities, even children born to no-mage parents, who had only ever known silence. At Ilvermorny, they found belonging. Years passed, the school grew, stone replaced wood, towers rose, but the spirit remained. A spirit born not from pride, but from healing, from breaking cycles and choosing love. Isolde Sayre never forgot her past. She didn't erase the name of Slytherin, but she rewrote its legacy. And so when the wind howls across Mount Greylock at night, some say you can still hear her voice singing to her students as they sleep. Sleep now in the house of your choosing, under the carved ceilings of Ilvermorny, wrapped in robes that feel like home. Let the thunderbird carry your dreams. Let the wampus guard your breath. Let the horned serpent stir your thoughts, and let the Pukwudgie warm your heart. There is a difference between hiding and being invisible. American witches and wizards. Learn to be both. Close your eyes. Let your breath fall into rhythm. Now imagine a child born with magic, but raised in silence. No floating toys, no candlelight that dances, no bedtime spells whispered from a parent's wand. Because in America, magic was something to conceal, not celebrate. They were called no-mares, those without magic, and for centuries they were seen not as curious neighbors, but as a threat. The Salem Witch Trials had left scars, deep ones. MACUSA, the Magical Congress, swore that never again would magic be exposed, and so laws were written, strict, unyielding. You could not marry a no-mage. You could not befriend one. You could not leave behind a magical trace, a floating book, a shimmering footprint, a single whispered charm. Because if you did, you would face obliviation, a memory charm strong enough to erase every trace. Or worse, your wand would be snapped. In America, the wand was a weapon. Every wizard had to register it. Name, date, wood, core, intended use. If your wand was found outside your home without cause, you could be punished. No such laws existed in Britain, but here, fear had been carved into law. It didn't matter if you were kind or careful or quiet. To be magical was to be hidden. Some families never told their children the truth, hoping it would skip them, hoping they'd be normal. But magic always finds a way. And so the child grows, half knowing, half lost. Ilvermorny welcomes them, teaches them spells, potions, history, but the rules remain. After graduation, you return to the world that must never know you. You work in secret, you love in silence, you cast in corners. Even magical towns, like New Amsterdam, are buried behind enchantments, invisible to satellites, untouched by maps. You might pass one on the highway and never know it, because that is the law. Nomads must never know, but rules don't always hold hearts. There were always witches who fell in love with nomad artists, wizards who longed to share their secrets, families who tried to live between the cracks. Some succeeded, others disappeared, and slowly a new fear crept in, not of being caught, but of being alone. You could live a whole magical life and still never tell a soul who you really were. Is that safety, or is that something else? Dreamer, have you ever kept a part of yourself hidden? A secret power, a quiet wonder, something you feared the world wouldn't understand. That's what it means to grow up magical in a no-mage world. You carry starlight in your hands, but keep them tucked in your coat. You hum spells beneath your breath, but never finish the song. Still, hope flickers in enchanted journals passed between students, in potions traded beneath subway tunnels, in secret gatherings under waning moons. And in those moments, you remember that magic was not born to be hidden, it was born to be shared. It is the year 1926. The city is New York, but not the one you know. Not just cobbled streets and car horns, not just jazz clubs and rising steel. You are walking through the Lower West Side, but the air feels different. A woman passes with a wand tucked into her umbrella. A newspaper folds itself in midair, a brick size, and rearranges itself after someone bumps it. The nomads see nothing, but you can feel the tension. It's in the ground, in the whispers, in the way MACUSA wizards glance over their shoulders, again and again, because something is coming. Or perhaps it's already here. A man has entered the city, not with spells, but with ideas. His name is Grindelwald, or so he was called once. Now he wears another face, another name. And in this borrowed skin, he watches America. He watches how tightly the magical world is wrapped, how much fear, how much control. And he whispers, what if you didn't have to hide? What if magic ruled openly? What if nomads bowed instead of burned? He finds ears ready to listen. He always does. But he also finds something else. A boy. His name is Credence Barebone, quiet, thin, wounded, raised in a no-maj cult that feared magic and beat it out of children. But Credence was magical, and he had hidden that magic so long, so deeply, that it turned into something else, an Obscurus, a storm of repressed magic, twisting, dark, unstable, and Grindelwald wanted it. He told Credence he was special. He promised him a wand, a family, a name, but it was a lie, and when the Obscurus erupted, it tore through New York like a hurricane. Buildings cracked, streets broke open, lights flickered with grief and rage. MACUSA panicked. The secret was unraveling. So they summoned a thunderbird, a creature of sky and storm, and they gave it a potion, a memory charm so strong it rained forgetfulness across the entire city. The no-maj looked up into silver rain and forgot what they had seen, but the magical community did not forget. MACUSA tightened its laws, closed its doors, feared its people, and Credence vanished. Or so they believed, because magic, especially when born of pain, does not fade easily. And Grindelwald, he escaped. His message had been planted that maybe wizards didn't have to hide. Maybe they were meant to rule. And in the shadow of that belief, the world began to tilt. America watched, trembled, silenced its magical children further. The storm had passed, but the sky was not clear. Dreamer, what happens when light is kept from the world too long? Does it dim or does it explode? Sleep now, but remember the boy with no name, the man who borrowed faces, the rain that erased the truth, and the storm that still waits just behind the clouds.